Roosevelt Island is a community in the East River adjacent to Manhattan. It was planned to have a mix of populations, mix of races, ages, incomes, and in particular, a mix of housing dedicated to people who are disabled. I practice general internal medicine on Roosevelt Island, have been doing so for the past decade. I take care of a large population of homebound people, people who can't get out of their beds or wheelchairs either because they're frail, elderly, or severely disabled. It's clear to me that these people would do much better at home than in hospitals or in nursing homes. Keeping people at home
difficile, and that was as a result of my having something. I was here for about, I guess, but I'm saying an hour. I don't know. Maybe it was a little longer or not, whatever. But by the time I came in and sat down on the couch, I was feeling awful. At night, I ended up back in the hospital. The ambulance came and they took me back in the hospital. As they admitted me again. That's when I started having the problems, the real problems of this. I guess it.
they get these terrible infections.
We really do not have your freedom. Now, in my home, I make my own rules. About a month ago, I had developed bronchitis. I needed an IV infusion. And he called the VNS, but they didn't set it up. But they weren't able to do it in an adequate time. It took them 5 days to approve it.
Dominic had a respiratory infection, and I discovered this rather crazy situation that if you want to give somebody intravenous medication that's really, really expensive, then it's easy to do and you can get it done quickly. But if you just want to give them some fluids because they're dehydrated or some relatively inexpensive antibiotics, it's hard to get done. And I believe what's really happening here is the system pays the providers of these services. They primarily make their money on a profit margin on the actual medications rather than on the provision of the services. Well, having somebody like Dominic go to the hospital does have two problems. One, it's a very dangerous place for them to be. And secondly, from the point of view of the government and the system, it's much less expensive to provide a few quarts of salt water to somebody at home.
The transition from the hospital to my home, it was a wonderful experience for me. It's the best thing that ever happened to me.
Dawn Casamassa has multiple sclerosis. She wants to stay at home. Keeping her muscles, her arms and her legs flexible and easily movable is a challenge in the way the system works.
My name is Dawn Casamassa. I've been living on Roosevelt Island since 1996. My medical condition is multiple sclerosis. Well, I'm a paraplegic. I have spent a year in the hospital. It's more pleasant at home. I could be surrounded with my things. I have my company. I have all the phone calls that I could make and receive. It's much better. Doctor for physical therapy came to analyze my condition. He felt that I could not benefit from physical therapy because I was not going to walk again. And as the occupational therapy, I'm only able to get maintenance occupational therapy for 6 weeks. I can't seem to get it again after several months to keep my muscles alive, if you will, so my legs don't atrophy. When I'm having occupational therapy, it helps me use my arms and keeps them in motion. If I don't get it, they become very stiff, and I'm unable to move them.
They'll only pay for it when you need rehabilitation. Well, as soon as you've reached a level, they say, "Oh, okay, now she's okay." They won't pay. What they won't pay for is the maintenance to keep you okay. We got to wait till you get deteriorate again before they'll do it again. That's the craziness of the system.
That's correct.
You know, there are a number of situations where the rules of insurance or the rules of Medicare, since that's Dawn's insurer, are detrimental. You know, the idea that Dawn doesn't have regular physical therapy, regular occupational therapy, so that her limbs remain able to do what they need to do, in the long run, or even the medium term, is harmful to her, and doesn't make sense really, even from the financial point of view of the insurers. If she had regular maintenance, would be kept at a good level. Now, each time she has to get worse, and when you bring it back, it's never as good as it could have been.
It's a yo-yo effect.
When Blanca Gonzalez came home from the nursing home, she was barely recognizable. Working really hard with her family, we got her back to baseline.
Blanca Gonzalez.
My name is Felix Rivera Jr. I'm her son. My mother has been living in this apartment since 1990. She had a stroke in both hemispheres. My mother has stayed approximately 4 to 5 months in 2 different nursing homes at different times. She wanted to get out the first day. The nursing home's not complete. It's a big difference staying home. She gets very good food. She gets loving care from the home aides. She's in familiar facility. You know, she's in a familiar place. She would die in a nursing home. In a hospital, they're so overwhelmed. Like in a regular hospital, all of her medications, except maybe 1 or 2, are given one time in the morning, and she's blasted. She's zoomed out. The nurses explained to me that they give the medication once a day. I said, once a day? That's kind of hard on the body. Dr. Resnick changed the regimen. He saw that it was a danger. It was a danger to her life. It saved her life. She's much more alert. She's, she's more respondent. She speaks clear. She's alive.
Well, many people who are coming out of institutions, whether they're hospitals or nursing homes, are over-medicated. The kind of the norm in most settings is to try to keep the patient's schedule, convenient for the staff. Somebody wants to be awake from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. and then sleep from 4 a.m. to noon. The best treatment of that is to leave it alone and adjust everybody else's schedule around them. That's very hard to do in a nursing home or a hospital. But at home, if the family and the home health aides are willing, that's the approach we tend to take, and it's worked really wonders with Blanca. The difference is that Blanca has returned to her baseline. She, of course, has all these extra movements that are a result of her strokes, but she responds. She knows who we are. She, in fact, is completely appropriate. Not too long ago, when she was on her medication, she was basically sitting in that chair, not having these movements, but not having anything to do with any of us.
I want to see you.
You want to stay here.
I have my food. I have everything. Oh yeah, no, very happy.
She's happy. She's happy to be home. She's home.
Benny Malpica has had multiple sclerosis for a long time. When his long-standing health aide had to be away for a few months, his condition deteriorated rapidly. When she returned, he improved just as rapidly.
My name is Vicky Echevarria, and this is my brother Benito Malpica. He is one of 4 children. He is the second in the family.
My name is Jeanette Hall, and I do work for Mr. Benito Malpica.
Benny Malpica. That's all I can tell you.
My brother Benito Malpica has muscular sclerosis for the past 40 years. He's being taken care of by Jeanette, his personal housekeeper, which she's incredible. And I think that's what has contributed to his well-being. The kind of attention that she gives him and care, I believe, has prolonged his life. Benito was in Bert Escola Hospital when he first moved to Roosevelt Island, and he was not doing well there. Benny does remarkable by living independently. I said, he has a better quality of life here.
I've been working with Benny approximately 8 years. I'm here 5 days per week, 12 hours per day. I take care of his basic needs. I was absent for almost 6.5 to 7 months. When I came back to work, Mr. Malpica, he was a little bit down, and also right immediately I picked up that he was having an infection.
During the time of Jeanette's absence, my brother, I feel, he suffered tremendously, but there was a constant rotation of different people. It became a honestly, we thought that we were going to lose him.
When someone has a really good relationship with their home health aide, when it's someone that's both consistent and of high quality, it is the most important factor in their well-being. And I can't tell you how many times I've had people I care for who suddenly their home health aide is gone for some period of time, and the physical, and this isn't really just down and depression, but the physical deterioration is frequent and almost inevitable. And Benny is a great story about how what really looked like a bad physical situation. I mean, he was really quite deteriorated, and this urinary tract infection really represented, his defenses being down in general. Jeanette returned, and within 2 or 3 weeks, he was really recovered and back to his baseline. So the role of the home health aide and the consistent high quality home health aide is more important than anything else. Really, it's truly penny wise and pound foolish. I mean, the amount of money society wastes on the healthcare provision for people like Benny could be, shaved significantly if more attention, more resources could be put into their caregivers.
Benny and I get along very well.
We get along. We get along.
We get along.
Benny, I feel very good about Benny. To me, Benny's like a part of my family.
My patients really do not want to go to the hospital. They know that they get sicker, they run into mishaps, their conditions deteriorate when they get hospitalized. I know that I can deliver much better care for most of their needs at home. To do that, I need the sorts of resources that can be funneled from the money that's saved by not wasting money on hospital care that makes them worse. I can get them better paid, higher quality home health aides. I can get them intravenous antibiotics and high-tech treatments at home. I can get them ongoing physical therapy at home. I can make sure people give them their medications every day at home. That is what independence at home really means, and my goal is to see that happens for any person that wants it that way.